Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whalen.
And I'm Mumford. I lost the thread.
Well,
Mumford
but that's so good, dude. Because as you know, that YouTube channel, Ashley and I really like Smosh. Courtney Miller, she has a recurring character that she has. That's literally called Boneless.
Boneless?
And that's it. Because what's funny is when you go back and watch the very first time she plays the character, you can tell she's just like that, trying to come up with a full name. But she couldn't. Because she was like, my name is Boneless. And that was it. And history was made.
Yeah, of course.
Just like now.
Just like now, yeah.
Mumford.
Yeah.
Oh, you're done.
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Dude, before we get into it, man, I have to talk about it because I'm just so fucking excited. A24 officially announced Pearl today.
Yeah.
Hopefully Future Rain has found a really good resolution of the poster and put it up for us.
Hopefully.
Dude.
Oh, by the way, I didn't watch, because I don't watch our show. Were you able to superimpose the Criterion?
The video that,
or just like the Criterion?
Oh yeah, I did.
Okay.
I know. Apparently, Future Rain. Well, now it's Past Rain, which is now me. I just did not feel like fucking.
So Past Rain. Hold on. Past Rain and Present Rain sort of merge.
Yeah, and Future Rain, who knows?
Is its own thing.
Yeah, exactly. But I was like, here, I was able to just get the box art off the Criterion website, and I just kind of put it right here.
Oh, okay, cool. So hopefully, Future Rain isn't fucking us, and he's putting up the Pearl poster, which I'm excited. I loved X. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
and
you and I saw X together. We were the only ones in the theater.
It was rad, man. That was a dope
movie. Was rad, and I'm so excited for Pearl. Especially, I think what intrigues me is that it was made in secret. Yeah. Like, they're like, hey, all right, we finished X. All right, no, we're going to make this movie right now.
Yeah.
And I love at the top of the poster, it says, an extraordinary.
That's fun.
X. But it just has the X, extraordinary origin. Dude, I'm excited, bro.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, man. Again, I thought X was a great resurgence of this old sort of slasher, like 70s sort of a film, and a little 80s, But I loved it. I thought Ty West did a great job, and we'll see what he does with Pearl. I know, man. See how that goes. We'll see what kind of genre it's gonna be. I hope it's not gonna be the same kind. I hope he's gonna.
I hope he takes a different approach to it.
I do too.
I mean. Obviously, it's probably going to be horror.
It's fine if he does. Well, I meant like...
Oh, like if it's going to be slasher...
Well, yeah, or, because I know it's going to be horror, obviously. I meant like, maybe since it's so far in the past, it'll be like gothic horror, or... You know what I mean? Like,
that'd be tight.
Because, he said it in the 70s, and then, of course, it has that style, right? Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping he does a similar thing with Pearl, and that it's going to be the style of the time.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I mean,
that'd be tight.
Ty West does great stuff. So.
Welcome back to X. For sure, we will 100% do an episode over that at some point.
You think so?
Oh, I would love to talk about that movie and break down that slasher horror is one of my favorite genres.
Yeah.
Not today. Today, we are talking about the 2015 movie Hell or High Water. Dude, this movie was rad.
Yeah, man. Oh, yep.
Super rad.
First time seeing it.
Yeah, super rad. So... First impressions, man, it was great. Yeah. It was a little shorter than I was expecting. Yeah. I would have thought this movie about bank robbing would have been a little bit longer, but I saw the runtime. I was like, oh, only an hour and 45 minutes?
It's nothing, man. It's cake.
Well, and then after it was over, I was like, that needed to be only an hour and 45 minutes. It was perfect runtime, which, of course, is something that you and I on the show go back and forth on a lot. Sometimes we want it longer, maybe a little shorter, but this was perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
And yeah, man, and the first real Taylor Sheridan thing I've actually watched. Both my parents keep telling me I need to watch Yellowstone. My dad is really he's like, you need to watch Mayor of Easttown. He's like, you need to watch that.
Mayor of Easttown's good.
And then he's been kind of on the fence with me about 1886.
Oh, I haven't seen it.
And he's like, yeah, it's a prequel to Yellowstone. Mom said I need to pace myself if I do watch 1886. She was like, it's intense. You need to pace yourself.
I would say no to all of that. And you just need to watch Sicario and Wind River.
Well, I mean, obviously I need to watch Sicario because that's our boy Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, I mean, Sicario was the first one.
Okay.
In this, I think he calls it the American Frontier Trilogy.
Really?
So you have Sicario, you have Hell or High Water, and then you have Wind River.
Wind River has Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen.
That's correct,
right?
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. And it is, and Gil, oh no, Birmingham?
I think that's his name.
Yes.
Love that guy.
He's phenomenal. He is in Wind River also.
I feel like he was just in a movie that I saw recently.
He's in a lot of things that I watch. And if Haley's with me, oh, hey, look who it is. She goes, oh, that's Jacob's dad.
Oh, my God. Oh, yes.
Dude, they got one of the greatest character actors of any generation to be in a Twilight movie. You know what I mean? Multiple Twilight movies. Which is amazing because Gil Birmingham, I mean, he's amazing.
Jesus Christ. I completely forgot. I've seen all but the last two of the Twilight franchise.
Wish I could say the same.
Anyway. But yeah, man. The movie was great. And again, like I said in our little tease for it, I love Chris Pine. I think he's really come a very long way as an actor. And I love seeing him out of his element. I think you did say really good last week about him sort of becoming this leading man. Shout out to Comic-Con. I watched the Dungeons & Dragons trailer, and that's very much the case that they're making him the leading man of this. I may see it.
I think it might just be because he's Captain Kirk, and to me that's like
True.
it's a classic leading man role, right?
Well, yeah. Then you got to then you look at Wonder Woman, and even though he's not the main character of Wonder Woman, still,
and the dude is just so goddamn handsome. I mean, in this film, they really highlight his eyes. They are just. In one of the reviews I read, it said impossibly blue. It's incredible. The dude is just handsome. You can't deny it.
Not at all.
And you can dirty him up, you can scruff him up, you can put as many raggedy flannels as you want on him, and the dude is still handsome. If not more handsome.
And I'd like to say that I meant to look it up, but I know Chris is not from Texas, but they definitely gave him the West Texas treatment, and he pulled it off.
They both did. I thought, well, everybody, their accents were on point.
100%.
Yeah.
Which I definitely wanted to talk about once we really get into the episode. But so, Jeremy, why don't you hit our audience with that brief little synopsis?
All right, cool.
That you're so good at.
So, Hell or High Water follows two brothers who are desperately trying to raise some money so they can save their family farm. That is being foreclosed on, taken over by the bank. However, the way they are doing it is they're robbing banks, the exact branch that is foreclosing on the property. A little bit of a fuck you while also, getting the job done.
Well, and the ending is, I think, a triple fuck you.
Yes, it is.
But we'll get there.
And so the movie follows them as they go from small West Texas town to small West Texas town. And of course, when I saw the movie for the first time, the name of the bank kind of raised my ears because it's Texas Midlands. I go, hey, I'm from Midland. It has nothing to do with Midland, but to me, it was a little shout out to Midland. To me, it probably wasn't. And the story also follows the are they marshals?
They're Texas Rangers.
They're Rangers. The two Texas Rangers that are tracking them down, Jeff Bridges and Gil Birmingham. And it all comes to a head after a few successful bank robberies. They have a couple more to go, and it doesn't go so well. And we'll get into the specifics, but they split up. They get tracked down. Well, one gets tracked down. The wild card, hothead brother, played beautifully by Ben Foster.
Yeah, Tanner.
Takes them on a wild goose chase, distracts them from, oh man, Toby, yeah, Toby's trail, and Toby kind of gets away with it in a way.
In a way,
because Jeff Bridges, Ranger, retires. However, he is still hung up on the case. Follows up with Toby, and they sort of had this very, very intense, very, I think, beautifully written and beautifully shot standoff between the two of them. And it ends with you, the audience, knowing that it's not over until it's over, right?
Yeah.
And that is a very quick, very messy synopsis of Hell or High Water.
Well, man, I mean, it's got to be messy because, we've got a lot to dive into.
Yeah, we do.
The robberies themselves, the relationship between Tanner and Toby, the relationship between Jeff Bridges and Gil. So I'd say let's actually start with Tanner and Toby.
Sure.
They're brothers. I didn't even know they had a last name, and I didn't even care until I watched some of the behind the scenes and some of the interviews. I was like, oh, they have last names.
Yeah.
I don't care. Because all I needed is that they were brothers. They're trying to save their family farm, and that's all I needed.
Yeah.
And especially halfway through the movie, I was like, that's all I need. I don't care if they have last names. And it's just so very Texan that their names are Tanner and Toby.
You think so?
I truly think so. Because I know a lot of Tanners and I know a lot of Tobys.
I don't know. I don't think I know any Tobys.
Well,
but
I think I know
know
like a Toby.
I know a Tanner. So
Yeah.
It was his birthday the other day. Happy birthday, Tanner.
Does he watch the show?
No.
Oh,
I don't think
he
so.
should.
I don't think so.
But anyway, and for the longest time, when I'd heard about the movie and seen things about the movie, I always assumed that Chris Pine was the older brother.
I see.
And Ben Foster was the younger brother. But of course, the movie lets you know very early on that Chris is the younger brother and Ben's the older brother.
Well, and I like their dynamic because obviously Toby has planned this thing out perfectly, right?
Yeah.
He just needs someone to help him out. And of course, his brother's a degenerate.
Yeah. Whereas, the very handsome writer of this movie, Taylor Sheridan,
makes a cameo in this film, by the way.
Yeah. Says about Tanner is he's a career criminal.
He is.
Yeah.
This guy's been doing it for a while. He's just got out of prison.
Literally just got out of prison.
Literally.
Like a year ago. Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'll risk going back again.
I'll help you out. It's no big deal, right? Because it's family, right? Like, I'm going to help you out, brother. It's not a big deal. Like, what's important to you is important to me. And honestly, I think that Tanner will take any excuse to get back into it, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want to live the straight life. He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He's not built for it. This is not his world.
Yeah. A lot of the behind the scenes stuff that I was watching today was saying that Tanner has made his bed. This is his life. He's willing to go back to prison if necessary. Yeah.
It's no big deal to him.
As where Toby is more, well, I don't want to end up in prison. I want to get this done, but I don't want to end up in prison.
Toby is the personification of the desperation, right?
Correct, yeah.
Toby doesn't want to do this. Toby feels like it's his only option.
Yeah.
Right? And by hitting the banks that are making his life so difficult, right? In one of the articles I was reading, it said the Texas Midlands Bank is both his downfall and his savior all at the same time. Mm-hmm. Because where it's making his life a living hell, it's also kind of helping him get out of it by him robbing them. Right.
Yeah.
And I love the way that, we're finding out little subtle details about their plan and how their precision is, right?
Yeah.
Not taking bundles, right? Not taking large bills because they track those, right? Just taking small bills in the drawer. Don't get anything from the vault, right?
Right.
Because again, those things are cataloged. They're traceable, right? Even the small bills are traceable, but of course they flip it pretty easily. They clean it, as it were.
Yeah.
By going to the casino.
Yeah, I will say, as in terms of mini heist movies, we learned a lot of how quickly you could potentially get away with robbing. Like, just take it to the casino. It gets put back into circulation. They can't even find it.
Yeah.
As the attorney says.
It's almost like in the film, all you need to do, change it out into chips, wait a couple of hours, and then go cash them back. Right?
Yeah.
If you're under the assumption no one is watching you, then it seems pretty plausible that it doesn't seem suspicious. You just went, you came back with essentially the same amount of money. And especially if it's a different person the second time, changing it out, who cares? Right?
Yeah.
Because you have to wait for that money. Because if you do it right away, there's more likely you're going to get the same money.
Yeah,
is what my understanding is.
No, that makes sense. Because I did wonder. I was like, why are they just waiting around? Like,
that's why they're waiting around.
What are they doing?
I think they're waiting for the money to circulate more.
Yeah, and then go back in. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you know, so I do love the relationship between them. You know, we've done a lot of movies about brothers. Mm-hmm. At least the one that I'm remembering the most of is, of course, Warriors.
Oh, of course.
Warrior. A shout out to our Warrior episode.
Yeah, definitely. Check that out.
The only movie so far that's made me cry on our podcast. But I do love this relationship. You know, as we're Warrior, the relationship between the brothers was more strained. Tanner and Toby are somewhat close.
Yeah.
You know, maybe they, you know, Toby being the younger brother definitely has to reel in his older brother.
Well, they have that shared trauma. They have their father, right?
Yeah.
Their abusive father, which is alluded to. And Tanner killed him.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Wild. Yeah.
Right?
And he has no remorse for it.
Of course not.
Especially I just love the delivery. You know, Ben's like, you know, that's why I shot that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
And I love later on when they're reading his rap sheet that you find out how he did it. And, you know,
shot him on a hunting accident
in the barn. In April.
In
right?
April.
Yeah. But, you know, whatever. I love that little piece of exposition at the end. But yeah, so they have that shared trauma, right? Mm-hmm. It seems like the only reason they would be a little bit off rhythm would be because he was gone. Yeah. If he hadn't have gone to prison, they'd be fine. Or they would be closer, obviously, right? I think that they're still close, even though they are completely different.
Yeah.
You know, where Tanner is a career criminal, as Taylor Sheridan says.
Mm-hmm. And as we learned, Toby really hasn't done anything wrong ever in his life.
Ever. Which is so odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
But again, I like that dynamic. I like the hot and cold. I like the yin and yang with that, because it makes the bank robberies more meaningful because of the struggle that you know Toby's going through. He doesn't want to do this. Again, this is something he has to do. This is something that is the only way out.
Yeah.
Of his,
Well, and it's a good segue into the robberies themselves.
Sure.
Because the first robbery, which I loved the setup, you know, if it was one take, right? Following the cars and then following the teller.
Yeah, so following the teller, and it's so fast. And if you don't pause it, you don't see it. But I'm going to read you the graffiti.
Yeah, I saw it.
Hold on.
It was
Talk where you're doing it.
Something about 3 tours.
Yes, 3 tours in Iraq, but no bailout for people like us. Of course, it's alluding to the bank bailouts, right? From the housing bubble recession crisis of 2008. And, of course, this is essentially a veteran, a normal citizen, you know, stating his frustration and anger with the way the world is. And I like that there's a little bit of that in this film, but not too much, right?
Right.
Because like it seems like these bank robberies are, quote, justified because of the social status with the way we view banks, especially now, right? Now that we know what the banks were doing all these years, because of the housing crisis, because of 2008, we now know a lot more about the shady dealings of these banks, right? And so now the public view of banks has sort of, you know,
shifted.
Way shifted. I mean, I'm sure people were always very weary of banks, especially after Jesus Christ, after the Great Depression.
I was about to say, are you leaning towards
the Great Depression, and then Black Monday, and then all that other shit, right? I mean, there are several examples.
Well, and I love that Taylor said this in the behind the scenes stuff too, is that, a lot of these small towns, not just in Texas, they were hit really hard by everything.
Yeah.
And again, I agree with what you're saying about how we get a little bit of that. And I love how they do it is we see all these signs.
Yeah.
Get cash quick, or, need debt help, all these for sale signs.
Yeah.
And I love that. Because again, it makes the robberies feel sort of justified.
In a way.
Way. Yeah, because I do know Taylor said that we don't know who necessarily we need to root for.
Right.
In the movie.
And that alludes to the title of this episode, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
I love that there are a little bit even dialogue, right, of at the diner. You have that guy going, "You mean that bank that just got robbed, that's been robbing me for years?" You know?
Yeah.
There's that, and then not much else, thank God. Because I think if there would have been too much of that, it would have been too much like Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah.
Or too much like, frankly, Natural Born Killers, which, of course, Natural Born Killers is parodying, in a way, the sort of glorification of criminals.
Yeah.
And hero worshipping them, basically.
Yeah.
In this film, they don't become martyrs. They're not heroes, right, in the public eye. If anything, they're the opposite, because of the way the public goes after them, of course.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, let's keep with the bank robberies, because you're right. That first one is amazing, the way that we're following her. And
we see their car.
Yeah.
Because the camera shoots through her window, and we see the car kind of tailing her a little bit, which I was like, that's important. And then when we actually see their car, because we don't see them yet.
Yeah.
We see their car, and I was like, oh shit, it's going down. Like, it's going down right now. Okay.
Yeah. It's amazing. And of course, there's no crescendo, there's no like real music swell. There is music, but then it kind of dies down when the action starts, which is great.
And also, shout out to that actress who plays the teller. She was in Palm Springs.
Oh yeah. She's been in a bunch.
She's a great character actress, and I really like seeing her. And I love how, and again, it's very Texan, that even in the face of this bank robbery, she's still being very sassy.
She is being very sassy
at Tanner.
There's a few moments of sassiness, I guess, with not only her but even with the older gentleman at the other bank.
Oh yeah, you got a gun on you, old man?
He's hilarious.
You're damn right I do.
He's like, y'all robbing it. And of course he says something insensitive. He's like, y'all ain't even Mexicans.
Which
makes me laugh every time.
Well, because it's a very Texan thing to say.
A very old man Texan thing to say.
Very, very, as I refer to it, very good old boy. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
He makes me laugh every time. And of course, in that instance, I mean, we need to get through the first.
Okay, yeah, all right. Okay, so the first robbery. Before we even see their faces, we can tell almost who's who.
Well, at least who's the alpha and who's the beta, right? Because we know right away that whoever this guy is, he knows exactly what to do, and he's very intense, right? Mm-hmm. The other guy's sort of gun shy, literally, and sort of, not sure what to do, right?
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, because I never really paid attention to this detail, but this isn't the first one. They've done this before. This isn't their very first job, right?
No.
I think he's still getting the hang of it, but
I think it's implied they've
done it before.
They've done one before.
So this, because which, if that's true, which I want it to be, I like that. I like that we're not jumping right into their first go around, because I kind of like this sort of lived in sort of world.
I don't know if they ever say, because I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
because when the Rangers catch wind of it, it was the two banks we just saw them rob at the beginning of the movie.
Maybe it is the first one, which is fine.
But it seems like they've already got some cash.
I know. I don't know.
Unless maybe it is, because now I'm starting to think, because they bury the cars after each job.
Yeah.
And we don't see another car.
By the way, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Burying the cars.
Yeah, I mean, because it's going to take them forever to find it.
I loved that, right?
Yeah.
And this film doesn't really go into like a how-to.
Which,
right?
again, and that's another thing I really loved.
Yeah.
Is they just, which we've talked about with other movies, they just kind of drop us into this world.
Yeah, we don't see them plan it, right?
It's already been planned.
Yeah, it's done already. They just need to do it, right?
Okay, but anyway, so we can see that one guy definitely already very aggressive, which is Tanner.
Yeah.
And I love that Toby is being still very respectful. Like, ma'am, look at me. When is your boss going to get here?
Yeah.
It's that southern hospitality.
Well, and not only that, but, he's reassuring her everything's going to be okay. Look at me, right? Everything's going to be fine. Calm down. Without saying all of that, right? It's, you can tell by the tone in his voice, you can tell by the look in his eyes, those impossibly blue eyes, that everything's going to be fine,
Yeah.
Just, look at me. Don't look at him. Look at me. Everything's going to be fine. When's your boss coming in, right?
Right.
And, I mean, it's sort of darkly funny, right? When the boss comes in and he's sort of confused why she's on the floor.
Yeah, and he hasn't realized that there's two armed.
And of course, she's sort of like, you're not going to believe this,
Yeah. Well, then, of course, we get more of this when Tanner hits the boss.
Whew.
Yeah. But then we cut, and they're out the door, and they're already on to the next bank.
Yeah.
And I just love that they just throw us into it.
Yeah.
And we're not stopping, because that's when we get to the second bank.
Right.
And we get...
Oh, boy.
A good old boy. Which I love that he's like, I found these under, hay or something?
I love this guy, yeah, because he's just finding coins, and he goes...
Which is so wild, because... So I'm going to say this now. I felt very called out by this movie on 2 occasions. Both occasions was in one scene, but this slightly, I was like, I feel kind of called out, because when I was younger, that's what I would do. I would make the rolls of coins.
Yeah.
And I would save those and then cash them in whenever I needed some extra cash,
Sure.
like that, maybe to go on top of my allowance.
Sure.
And so I was just like, Jesus Christ.
That's funny.
I'm like, this can't just be a Texan thing.
No,
it
no,
just
it's
can't
not.
be.
Although my grandfather collects coins, and he's...
Well, and I love that teller's like, this one's from 1958. You could probably sell these.
Well, and I like that he goes, as if this were enough, but I like he goes, I've been eating like an inmate for years, and now I was sitting on this the whole time. I go, it's probably like $200.
Yeah.
Let's calm down. But I like that she's even like, this could be worse, which is absolutely true, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That could have been worse.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
But then, of course, Tanner and Toby show up, and as we were just talking about, your favorite interaction.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that Tanner is kind of squatting on the counter.
Yeah.
And then finally looks over at him and is like, you got a gun on you, old man? You're damn right I do. Are you going to get it?
And I still just love that as nuts as Tanner is, right? Mm-hmm. As crazy, as unpredictable as he is. I love that he goes, you're going to take my gun? He goes, I have a gun, right? I don't need yours. I have one.
Yeah.
I love that he's not going to just take a gun just cuz, right? They're there for one specific purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Now, Tanner will cross the line. This is not, he's not always going to be this cordial.
Yeah.
As erratic and as mean as he is, it's still pretty cordial at this point, right? Again, he will eventually cross the line. But
yeah. But then we start. But then in the second one, we see sometimes Toby doesn't think.
Yeah, even I was like, dude, that's too close to him.
Yeah, he takes the old man's gun, but he puts it on the counter right next to him. Had this old man come up with this idea sooner, the movie would have been over immediately.
Of course.
Of course, what I'm saying is he starts to shoot at them as they're running out of the door. So had he come up with that a little bit sooner, before they exited the bank, yeah.
By the way, if you ever take someone's gun, and it is a semi-automatic pistol, as the one that the gentleman had, mm-hmm. The old man, you drop the clip, you pop the one in the chamber, and then you can put it wherever you want. He didn't even unload it.
Yeah, that's true.
Gotta be streetwise, guys. Remember, even though they pop the clip, there's always one in the chamber. You understand what I'm saying? All right.
We're going to start giving street lessons on the podcast now?
That's just going to save someone's life, what I just said right there.
Oh, my God. But, they seemingly get away with these first two robberies pretty effortlessly. I do love, though, when they're driving by some cops and Toby's like, slow down. I ain't speeding. And he says it to him twice.
Tanner is, devilishly funny. Especially in the casino.
Oh my God, yeah. When he takes the chips and he's like, and he takes the whole row.
And when he stands up to that to the Native American gentleman at the right, he goes, "How did you stay out of prison?" He goes, "Very difficult," right, or something along those lines. Like it was something very fast. Like how have you not gone back to prison? And he goes, "Yeah, it's hard."
Yeah. Right? Well, and I love in this casino scene.
Well, we're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
You know what I kind of want to do? I kind of want to transition. I want to transition to the Rangers.
All right, yeah, dude. I can talk for hours about Jeff Bridges.
Of course.
As we did with our 100th episode special of The Big Lebowski.
Can I tell you the Q&A I watched? Half of the time they were just talking about how awesome it was to work with Jeff, and he's there, right?
I watched the GQ, best roles video of him, and he absolutely loved working on this movie. Of course, Jeff. I've heard Jeff is the nicest guy.
I have a first-hand account that he is the nicest guy.
What do you mean you have a first-hand account?
I went to Texas Tech University.
Right.
In Lubbock, Texas, where part of this movie takes place.
Oh wait, in Texas?
In Lubbock, Texas, yeah. Part of the movie takes place in Lubbock. It's where the Rangers are.
Continue.
I took a class on nonfiction military film.
Okay.
And one of the...
I swear to God, if this story's going the way I'm thinking it's going...
No, one of the people in my class, her name is Rachel. She lived in... Bless her heart. She lived in Roswell, New Mexico.
Dude, Roswell's tight.
No, it's not. And...
Dude, it's where the aliens landed, my guy.
Yeah, no, it's not. So... she was telling a story that it was either to me or to the class. I don't remember. But she was an extra on The Men Who Stare at Goats.
No. Oh, wait. I think you have told me this story before. Continue.
And so she was like, it was really kind of fun. They said Ewan McGregor wasn't there. But
George Clooney?
No, George Clooney was there, but he was in character, right? He was off doing his own thing. Kevin Spacey was screaming at a production assistant.
That sounds
on brand.
Pretty on brand.
And so she's just chilling out, and from behind her, she heard, "Man, are you guys having just the best time? Have they fed you yet?" And she turns around, it's Jeff Bridges.
Oh my God.
And he goes, "Man, isn't this just the most fun? Have they fed you? We're on a movie. How fun is this? Are you okay? How are you? What's your name?" Just the nicest dude in the entire world.
Tell me she got a picture.
I don't know if she did or not, probably, but she didn't share. But that's almost worth it to live in Roswell. You know what I mean? Roswell sucks, but that's so anyway, Jeff Bridges is...
You are getting married less than probably 75 miles away from there.
I hope it's more, but...
It's not that far. I'm sure Future Rain will put out the actual distance between Roswell and Ruidoso.
I hope it's more.
Which is also... where they go in this movie. See, I brought it all back.
Yeah, brought it all around.
Yeah. But dude, I'd love to meet Jeff, man. Just to pick his brain for 5 seconds. Even if it's just like, hey, look, I can't talk to you, but just answer one question.
Also, sidebar, everyone has told me to watch The Old Man.
It's on my list. I love seeing Jeff in an almost John Wick style kind of thing. I'm like, I got to.
I'm in. It doesn't take much to convince me to watch something he's in.
Literally, we're going to do the last picture show at some point.
Yes.
Of this season.
Which had some influence with David Mackenzie in making this film.
Really?
There's a couple of others.
Can't wait to see that.
And they all, most of his influences had Jeff Bridges in them.
Of course.
There was a couple that I didn't recognize But then he said the Last Picture Show is one of the main ones because, of course, it takes place in Texas and all that stuff.
Okay. But yeah, so the Rangers. Yeah. Jeff's character, Marcus, is about to be retired. And I assume Gil's character, Alberto, is going to take his place. Maybe?
I don't know about taking place, but definitely, he's up there. They're partners. That doesn't necessarily mean that they are at the same rank.
That's true.
It just means that they're partners, right? And it seems they've been partners for a while.
Yeah.
I love the banter that they have, and only because I don't believe, and I never will believe, that what Marcus, right?
Yeah.
is doing is malicious. He's not being mean. He is he's doing his version of like bonding camaraderie talk. Like he's picking at you because he likes you.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan said that Marcus comes, because he is older, he comes from a generation where men didn't really show their affection by saying, hey, I love you, or I care about you. They didn't know how to show their affection.
Yeah.
The only way they knew how to was to kind of insult you.
Yeah.
Jerk talking, essentially. And and I thought the same thing.
Right.
I was telling Ashley about the movie. I was like, I think you would really like this movie. I think you would. I was like, although like it does kind of worry me the way that Jeff is talking to Alberto. I was like, but Jeff doesn't strike me as the type of actor to want to take on a racist role.
Yeah, he's not being racist.
And he's not being racist.
And you're absolutely right. It's generational, right? And I love that explanation, and I think that's...
Well, and of course, I act like I'm like the Taylor Sheridan expert now. But, I do like that little detail that he writes in this older character, like, hey, doesn't know how to show his affection, so he's just going to insult.
Yeah, he's going to be, quote, mean to him, but he's not, right? Again, you're right. He's absolutely just telling Alberto he cares about him and that
you're my partner, you're my friend.
Yeah, you're my friend. I care about you.
I care about you.
You stupid Native American. That could have been way worse, guys. Just saying.
Yeah, because he does say some things that do almost cross that line.
They're pretty funny, and
they are good.
They're pretty funny. Now, before I knew I was 12% Native American, that's true, by the way. I immediately texted Kale after the movie. I go, "You gotta see this. It's hilarious because he makes fun of your people."
Oh my god.
Kale is a card-carrying member of the Choctaw tribe, and so I was like, I have a ton of new insults. I'm really excited.
Well, I love that Alberto can play it right back. Like, when he says something at the one-off bank, that's what I referred to it as.
Sure.
And Jeff's like, I'm gonna walk over to the diner, and he's like, yeah, you still eat. I don't know what he says, and then he's like, I am part Mexican, and he's like, oh, I know.
I'll get to those.
But I'm not done with the...
But it's going to be a while.
But it's going to be a while, yeah.
That, of course, makes me laugh so much.
Yeah. I love this relationship because this is another thing that I learned from behind the scenes is that it's a story of brothers.
Yeah.
Familial bond and essentially a maid family.
Yeah.
Maid brothers between Alberto and Marcus.
I completely agree with that. It is two sets of brothers hunting each other down.
Yeah.
Or one hunting.
One hunting the other, yeah. And I love their relationship because just like regular brothers, the scene in the hotel, you can tell Alberto, it kind of weighs on him a little bit when Marcus is
a tiny bit
digging into him.
And I think he can also see that Marcus isn't in his own room because he doesn't want to be alone, number one.
Yeah.
And wants to spend time with him, right?
Yeah.
More, right?
Yeah.
As if they haven't been spending time together all day.
All day, yeah. And I really love the relationship between them, and it is, I will be honest, it is so much heartbreaking towards the end of the movie.
I know.
I want to save the finale for its own thing, but yeah. I love their relationship, and they complement each other.
I agree.
Marcus, even though he is out the door as a ranger, he's still got his wits. He's still whip smart. He pretty much solves the case
Yeah, I think a lot of the other, especially Alberto,
Uh-huh.
kind of just thinks it's Occam's razor. They're tweakers. They're whatever. Let's get it done.
Yeah, and especially when they're in that one town, Cameron. Or,
There's
I
no
don't
way
know.
you'll get it.
But and he's telling him like, all right, they hit these two banks, and he was like, yeah, but this one. He's like, would you shut up? You just don't talk until I'm done. But yeah, and because Alberto does think that he's trying to prolong this, and they're.
Yeah, I think that he's saying, you only want to, and he even, I think outright says it, you only want this to last forever because you're afraid of retirement.
Yeah.
Right.
Which,
I think there's a little bit of truth in that, but also he's right. Also.
Yeah.
So there's that sort of weird balance of, I think they're both right. You know?
Yeah, I don't think Marcus wants this to end yet, but at the same time, well, as we learn, he is right.
Yeah, of course.
But
yeah. Especially when he just cracks that I don't think his partner knew he was going to hit that bank that day. And he goes, that's exactly right. Like, how did you know? You know what I mean? The audience, of course, knows.
Yeah,
but like,
because we see Chris Pine casually walking back out to the car, and here comes Tanner. Start the fucking car.
Yeah,
and he's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah. All right. So a couple of things before we move on. Mm-hmm. There is one character that I think is my favorite and stands out throughout the entire film, and that's the waitress at the T-Bone.
Oh, shout out to Katie Mixon.
Yes.
Dude, she's awesome.
Now, hold on. We're not talking about the young, sassy waitress. No. We are talking the elderly waitress at the T-Bone.
Oh! Okay. Yeah.
So she is also in No Country for Old Men. She is...
Oh, she's the motel lady.
I believe so. She is. She is the motel lady. She's the one that's telling him with the equitable rate, whatever. And then she's like, oh, he's got 2 double beds. When Llewellyn is saying, I don't want this room next to mine. I want the one on the opposite side. She goes, well, that one ain't took. That one next to you. She goes, yes, no, I understand that, but I want that one. Right? So we can have the money, And she's all up in arms. It's got 2 double beds in it, and she can put 2 people in that motherfucker. So that's the same actrance.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
She's the rattlesnake.
Dude, she was cracking me up. Because, again, I don't know about you. I actually have never asked you, but I've been to a lot of these small towns in Texas. And there are waitresses like this.
Not to stay. I've driven through, gotten gas on a lot of them, but Post is one of them actually, and they talk about Post.
Yeah, but that's where the finale happens. Is Post. But yeah, man, it was cracking me up because it's what don't you want?
Yeah,
and you can see the bewilderment, like, what do you?
We're gonna pretend you didn't say it. Let's move on, and then of course she goes, no. It's, guys. I don't want to go through the whole thing. Watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Yeah. Scene's great.
Just the T-Bone diner scene. It is. It's too good.
I love that Alberto is like, he starts to ask for something, and she's like, oh, no. It's how he wants.
Yes.
How he wants the steak cooked, and she's like, nope, you get it medium rare.
Yeah. She goes, cook medium rare. Because actually, that want no question.
And he's like, okay.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
And y'all both want iced tea. Iced tea is fine.
Iced tea is fine.
And Jeff Bridges like, yep, iced tea is fine. Yeah, it was great. Well, because because after she explains the whole, what don't you want? Well, I don't want green beans. And Alberto's like, I don't want green beans.
I wouldn't either, by the way.
With a steak, yeah.
At all. I don't like green beans at all. But
green beans are tight, especially when they're seasoned good. Okay. Anyway, I thought you were referring to Katie Mixon.
She's also good.
Katie Mixon is great. She's good. Another great character actress. If anyone really liked Mike and Molly, she plays Molly's sister.
That is correct.
I meant to watch her show that she did with Diedrich Bader, American Housewife, I think.
Yeah,
I heard it was pretty good.
I had no interest. No interest.
But she's great. I loved her in this.
I did too.
I wish she did have a little bit more screen time, but of course her character was meant. Not necessarily as a plot device, but...
Her accent was also great. Now, I will disagree with you. on the plot device because
because she doesn't really help the cops at all.
Because at the very end when he's running through all that stuff with his
supervisor,
with his successor, that she said we took pictures of the diner. She said she was pretty pissed about
you took tips,
and that she didn't recognize him. And of course, right? And see, but that's important.
Yeah, that is, yeah.
That they made a connection with her, and the cops made her mad. Therefore,
she wasn't going to help.
And it's sort of, again, it's that sort of, that sort of not anarchist, but that sort of pushback that society has with authority and, of course, with the banks, but more with this higher authority that they now don't trust, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, well, I'd rather protect these guys just trying to get by however they can.
Yeah, because, she said, that $200 is going to help keep a roof over my head and my daughter's.
That's right.
And, of course, Jeff Bridges didn't do it to be malicious.
No.
He's just doing his job. The money was evidence. They had to take it.
But still,
yeah.
I mean...
But she's not going to see it like that.
No.
And she doesn't.
Frankly, I don't think I would have either. Especially, small town folk. There's no way. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, here, before we get to the finale, I do want to...
Oh, yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, I want to gush. I want to gush over the attention to detail of West Texas. Now, granted... I do need to broaden my horizons because we live in West Texas. And I've always considered Midland, we are West Texas,
Pretty west.
I had to look up the first two towns, Archer City and...
are they legit?
They are, yeah, they are. Archer City and Oldlini.
I would assume they're all legit.
They are. They are about 3 hours away from us. So kind of like, I would assume near like Ozona.
Which, by the way, in a lot of other places would take you in another state, by the way. I think
yeah, and I looked up pictures and I think they filmed there.
Yeah?
I think they did.
We could just look on IMDb, I guess,
to see
Future
Rain could probably say if they did or didn't with a yes or no.
With the film, there's that filming locations thing.
Yeah, I probably should. I meant to look that up because I meant to look up trivia, but then after I finished the movie, I was like, I don't want to know anything.
I will tell you that in that it's so beautifully shot. They're about to... it's the night or the evening before the last one, right? Their last one.
Oh, right, and they're prepping and kind of...
And they're hanging out at this ranch, right?
Yeah.
That shot of the landscape, right? They're not looking at the house. It's from the house's point of view.
Yeah. When we're looking from the porch, yeah.
Completely flat, right? Sunset. And of course that, the lighting is so perfect. I'm like, that's West Texas. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Pretty much everywhere in West Texas is pretty flat like that.
I'll be honest, even though we don't get a lot of green out here, and yes, it is flat, it has its moments where it is truly beautiful.
I agree. And I think that this is a great showcase of that because that, and also there's a few shots in Nocturnal Animals. Where
that's right.
they do sort of nail
Nocturnal Animals
the
West Texas,
right?
Speaking of West Texas, sidebar, I really want to see B.J. Novak's Vengeance because it also takes place in West Texas.
Wow!
And there's a scene in the trailer where they eat at a Whataburger, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have. So, of course, I love B.J. Novak anyway, but
all right, I want to know before we move on. So I posted, the movie trailer Mondays for today, and that was Hell or High Water.
Right.
Tons of response. I'm talking tons, right? Way more than I usually get.
Were you like,
right?
Oh shit.
Holy shit. And I'm wondering if this movie is truly beloved by all, which I think it is.
I think it is. I saw my mom commenting on your post.
But specifically for people who live here.
I think so. It's it's kind of like the same thing with The Iron Orchard, which you've seen it, right?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. It's...
Ooh, that took me a minute. Sorry, Scott.
Well, I told him we haven't seen 12 Mighty Orphans.
We have not.
Or American Underdog yet.
I don't like football movies, man. You're going to have to give me a minute on that.
Zachary Levi.
I know. Oh, it's got it.
Anyway, when I saw The Iron Orchard with Ashley and Dad, I remember when the movie was over, Dad leaned over to me and he was like, that's exactly how it is. It's like, that's exactly oil field in West Texas. That's exactly how it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know a lot about the oil field, and I was like, I'm going to take your word for it. I enjoyed the movie, mainly because I did like that they, of course, I had technically, quote unquote, visited set.
Yeah.
I went to the hotel settles, but anyway. But I remember reading a review for, I think it was not the New York Times, but it was a New York, article. They hated it.
Yeah.
But that's because they didn't get it. Because oil is not big up in New York.
Yeah.
It's big down here in Texas.
Yeah.
So in Texas, I read our Texas review, and it was nothing but like.
So what I'm hearing is, of course, this movie I think is undeniably great. I think
100%. I think
this movie's phenomenal. I think no matter where you look at it, I think it's across the board a good movie, no matter what. Yeah, right? 100%. A great movie, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I think Iron Orchard. Hold on. Okay. I think that production value wise, obviously, it's not as strong, right? I think, of course, recognizability of who's in it's not very strong. Understand?
No, I know. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think
you didn't recognize my mom in the movie.
I did. That is the only person I did. I go, there's Mickey. Okay, there's somebody. I think for me, yes, I loved the West Texas setting. Mm-hmm. I loved. I really did enjoy the cinematography. I thought it was good. I think a lot of it was the writing for me. No offense to whoever wrote Iron Orchard. To me, that's where it was lacking. And so I understand. I think if you aren't appreciating the other stuff, which of course someone from New York who's always lived in New York really kind of can't.
Yeah.
Right. I think they're only going to focus on the negatives. Right. And I think that was the problem with Iron Orchard.
Right. Well, the point I was just trying to make is
completely understand.
It definitely seems like movies that are about West Texas, specifically West Texas, because I've seen other movies about Texas, but it's the broad sense of Texas, specifically West Texas. And if they capture West Texas properly, I have noticed more of a love and appreciation. And yeah, I would agree that this one is pretty beloved here.
I think, well, yeah, here especially, but I think even apart from that, I think that, a lot of rave reviews, one of these is from like The Guardian, you know what I mean? Like they're not from here, you know what I mean? And of course, with the star power and all of that, it's no question, right? Yeah. To reach a broader audience, of course. Yeah. But of course, the storytelling, everything about it is just on point. I think the fact that it's just hard for me to separate, like, because it's based here, it's sort of like, is that why I like it so much? But of course, no, it's too good for whatever. Yeah. I imagine that's what people feel like when they watch a Red River, if they're from Wyoming, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where, anyway, so.
Okay. So the finale.
Yeah, we can get to the finale. I think we hit pretty much everything else. I
mean, I will like to give just a quick honorable mention to Toby trying to sleep while his brother's having sex in the bed next to him, and he's got his collar pulled up over his head, and he's just like,
yeah. That's a different kind of family dynamic.
Yeah, I know. His brother didn't even care, and he's just like. And Toby's just like, I just want to sleep.
Doesn't care at all. Also, didn't see that receptionist being like that. So,
that's the receptionist? Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I just thought he picked up a girl.
No, that's the receptionist. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, so did they actually get a room at that casino or? Oh my God. Okay.
I believe so.
Anyway, I had to give that honorable mention. So, okay. So the finale, man, as most heist movies, there has to be one where the heist goes wrong.
Yeah, and I love... So, they go to one branch and it's closed.
I think they said it was in Jayton?
Somewhere,
I think so. Yeah, they shut that branch down.
Yeah. So, the only one left is Post, right? Because
there was two.
Right. Well, right, but the other one was too big, right?
No. It was Cameron. I think it was Cameron. And that's where Jeff Bridges and Alberto are.
Yes.
And Post.
Right.
But Post, I guess, was in the opposite direction they were traveling. And so Tanner was like, no, let's go back. Let's hit post first.
Yeah.
If it's a dud, then we'll hit camera.
Right.
Trust me.
Right. And so so they hit post, and so throughout the film, one of their main objectives is get there when it opens. So there's nobody there, right? Mm-hmm. They hit it a little bit later, and that place is packed.
Yeah, and I love the oh shit moment. As soon as they walk in, before we even see why, you can see it in their eyes through their masks, like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah.
And then the camera flips and you're like, oh, they're fucked.
Yeah, and what I love about the authenticity of the story is people have guns on them.
Yeah.
Civilians have guns on them in Texas. It's just how it is.
And this is in 2015 before our governor lifted the concealed carry, so...
So, now, forget it.
And yeah, that's the fucking Wild West now.
Yeah, now. But then, if you have concealed carry, and even Tanner says, concealed carry
makes these bank robberies
really hard, Yeah,
because it was that was that. Yeah, right there. It was as they're driving away.
Now, this is where not only is this their most difficult go at it, but it's also the moment where Tanner just completely takes over.
Yeah.
And he goes, your way's not working, right? We can't... It's not going to be clean cut. And he kills that guy.
He kills two guys.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he kills because, oddly enough, someone decides to be a hero, pull his gun out. Because first it's the security guard. Mm-hmm. And Tanner kills that guy pretty fucking quickly.
Yeah.
And then a civilian pulls his gun out, starts shooting at Toby. And of course, you can tell Toby's never really fired a gun because he's not aiming.
Well, not at a person.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Do you think he was mainly trying to just kind of scare him a little bit? Maybe?
I don't know. I think that he's really apprehensive about killing people. He doesn't want to. He's not a criminal.
Yeah.
Right.
But then Toby just kills that guy point blank.
Oh man, right in the head. Now let's backtrack a little bit. I do want to say that throughout the film, when the Rangers talk to civilians, they're pretty mob justice style. They have this sort of mentality that, well, you just let me know. And, these guys don't want to meet me. This happens more than once.
Yeah.
And of course, this is where that sort of culminates to be true is in this final, part of the film.
Yeah. I thought that maybe he didn't actually kill that guy. I was like, I'm pretty sure I just saw him shoot him point blank because as they're running out, the glass breaks.
Yeah.
And then it's revealed that there's a whole line of people out there.
Yeah, and their trucks, of course.
And their trucks with shotguns and pistols shooting. And this is where I love, now that having watched the behind the scenes, love where Taylor Sheridan was trying to say, we don't know who to root for.
Yeah.
It kind of flips. And now I was like, oh shit!
They got to get out of it.
They got to get out. Yeah. And of course Tanner, again, as you said perfectly, he takes over. He tells Toby, get in the back.
Right.
And he figures out how to get out of there without getting in the seat.
This is now his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
As awful as this is going, I think that Toby kind of let Tanner just take the reins. He's like, you know what, man, get us out of here, right? In sort of a nonverbal way, of course.
Yeah, I bet it was like one of those looks, like, you got to get us out of here.
Or something, right? Because for the most part, I think Toby has been kind of in charge because, this is his deal, right?
Yeah, he's planned
for his family, right? Mm-hmm. His ex-wife and his kids, right?
Yeah.
This is what this is for. I don't think Toby is really in it for anything other than it's fun. I don't think he's getting any sort of financial compensation. You
mean Tanner?
Yes, sorry. I don't think Tanner is.
Well, and we get that with Jeff Bridges.
Right, yeah.
Had, he would have spent all that money just to go do
it again.
Yeah.
Right? I think Tanner, sorry. I think Tanner is just having fun.
Yeah.
Right? And of course he's helping his brother, but other than that, it's fun to him.
Oh, 100%.
And so now that shit's hitting the fan, I think that Tanner is like, I gotta save Toby.
I gotta save Toby.
No matter what.
I gotta get us out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why the murder and all that takes place.
Toby gets hit.
Yeah.
Which and the movie does a great job of letting us know because we hear the hit and we see the blood spray and you're like, oh shit, Toby's hit.
Yeah.
And I love how Tanner tells him like let me see, like, you're hit. Yeah, you'll live. But you gotta put pressure on it right now.
Yeah.
And I love that throughout the movie, like, we know that they're brothers and we know that they have an unspoken love for each other. But I did really like this where he kind of, as he's hauling ass, he grabs Toby and he's like, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And Toby's like, yeah, it's gonna be okay. And I was just like, yeah, that's very brotherly.
Yeah, and then once they separate, right?
Yeah.
This is sort of that, I think Tanner knew, he's like, I don't think I'm going to make it out of here. Or at least, I'm going to try my best, but
to give,
just in case.
Yeah, but he definitely wanted to give Toby enough time,
right,
to get out.
And that final goodbye to each other is sort of, it was sort of nice, and of course kind of funny, but
yeah, hey, I love you, and I mean that. I love you too. Hey, Toby, fuck you. Yeah. Yeah, man, I wasn't expecting the movie, this final act, to play out this way. Like, I had a suspicion, okay, Tanner's probably trying to give Toby enough time.
Right.
But I didn't think he would fucking light his truck on fire.
That was wild. I wasn't expecting it either. As soon as he shoved that rag in there and lit it on fire, I go, okay, I see what he's doing, and obviously it was a movie explosion, but it was very cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
Whether or not that's legit, it was very cool. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was good. Good explosion. But I think this is where Tanner knew he's not making it out.
Well, and I think for the audience, spoilers, once he kills Alberto.
Oh yeah.
Right. And dude, it's so fast, and it's in the middle of
him insulting him.
Right.
Yeah, get up there with that tomahawk, and you just hear this.
Yeah. And of course the acting that Jeff Bridges gives.
Oh, yeah. The look of just sheer pain.
It is pure pain. It's shock. It's disbelief in its pain, right?
Yeah.
All in just a few seconds. It's brilliant. Again, Jeff Bridges is.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
He's too good.
But yeah. Once Alberto is killed,
I think that's when the audience is sort of like, Tanner's the bad guy.
Yeah, this is where I think Taylor wanted it to flip again.
I think so. I think and again, it's all sort of in this film, with exception with Tanner. I think Tanner is sort of the exception. Everyone are just people.
Yeah.
Relatively, right?
Yeah.
I think that, Tanner is, of course, just a person, but with his criminal activity and with the way he conducts himself and the way he thinks things should be done, makes him a little worse, right?
Yeah.
I do see, and I do think that Sheridan does a great job of this, is we see a little bit of humanity every once in a while with Tanner, especially in his interactions with Toby. Yeah. I think that the both of them together really bring out the humanity in one another. Yeah. Especially in Tanner, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But it's just in this instance, you're like, oh, fuck.
I can't root for him anymore.
I can't, and nor should I have been.
Yeah, why have I been rooting for him this whole time?
Yeah. It's because he's Ben Foster, and, Ben Foster is incredible.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, and I love how they set this up. We'll get back to Toby. Hang on. I love how they set up Tanner's demise.
Yeah.
He's so focused here, he's not looking over here. Mm-hmm. And I love that he kind of he thinks that he might not necessarily get away, but he thinks that there's a little bit, because he sits back for a second. Mm-hmm. He's like, and again, I love the realism with using the guns, because it is so quick.
Yeah.
Jeff's got him in his sights, and then bam.
Boom, it's over.
It's over, yep.
And of course, it's not over because, it's over for Tanner, but it's not over because now Toby has to get past this blockade, this road stop. Yeah. and pretty nervous.
Yeah, he's got to hide his gun wound.
Yeah.
And I love how he does it. He just kind of keeps his arm. Of course, people on the camera can't see it, but he just hides his arm right by his abdomen, and it's just kind of like. And you could tell he's wanting to like scream, but
or something. You know what I mean? Like it's. And he's just cool, calm, and collected. He gets through it, thank God. But again, that tension is there, and it's brilliant in that scene. And then he gets to the casino to clean the money.
Yep. And this is when he hears about Tanner.
And very good fake newscast, by the way.
Yeah.
I liked how it's very faint. I can barely hear it. I can hear just enough. And it's just what I want to hear.
Yeah,
right?
which is
in a organically sounding way. Like it's not like whoever wrote that piece of newscast was great. It probably was Sheridan, because it sounded like legitimate news. Like it didn't sound too overly expositional. Right?
Yeah.
It didn't sound too fake to me. I really liked it. I know that's a little bit of a nitpicky thing, but that I liked.
Yeah.
But and then we flash forward, right?
Yeah, he makes it to the bank.
Yeah.
With
time.
time.
You're right.
Yeah. Well, time to spare. We'll probably yada yada through this. Time to spare. Gets everything paid off, and then gets the trust, which is what his lawyer said he needed to do, all set up that way. No one can sell that land.
Yeah.
And that it belongs to his kids now.
And he did the trust through
the places he's been robbing.
The Texas Midlands Bank.
Yeah, so
which is that third fuck you.
Yeah, which is the third fuck you. Yeah, and then then we flash forward. As what you've been saying that Jeff Marcus can't let this go.
Yeah.
So he goes and he sees Toby. And they have this wonderful exchange. And even both Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges have said that it wasn't the intent wasn't out of malice. It was, as you said, it was a standoff.
Yeah. I think, of course, Marcus, right?
Yeah.
Marcus is completely devastated by the death of his partner. Mm-hmm. That's what he is, of course, most outraged about. He could give a shit about the money. Who cares that he stole money? I don't even care, right?
Yeah.
That is his main motivation to finally end it all, right? In terms of let's catch both these guys, right? Yeah. Because he's absolutely right when he tells Toby, it is your fault. You set it all in motion. Mm-hmm. Right? You're the one that roped your brother into all of this. If you hadn't have done that, none of this would have happened, right?
Yeah, and I love the double dig down, because, he asks him, do you have a family? No, but my partner did.
Yeah.
A big one.
Yeah.
And they don't have any pump jacks in their yard.
Yeah, I mean, again, they did find, I thought he was just saying that to his son to explain where the money is coming from. That's what I thought he was doing, by the way. When he goes to visit.
Oh, yeah.
I thought he was saying that they found oil on the land, so he doesn't have to say, I'm robbing banks, that's where all this money is coming from, right? Yeah. But I guess what you're to understand is they found oil on the property, however, they're still going to take the property and they get none of it, right?
Right, yeah, because from what I understand is if the bank repossesses the house, they can sell the land, mm-hmm. and then they're really up shit's creek. Mm-hmm. But since
which is the main reason they need to keep hold of the land is because of the oil on it.
Yeah, right. That way they can drill it and they can get the money.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway,
forever. In perpetuity of however long they want to pump. But you're right. So in this exchange, you see the pump jack, right? Mm-hmm. And the words they're using are chosen very carefully, mm-hmm. both of them. Right? It is a sort of battle of wits between the two of them because one is trying not to give himself away.
Yeah. Yep.
While the other is trying to trick the other, right, into giving himself away. And, again, the dialogue is beautiful. Mm-hmm. And especially the last bit of dialogue, which is, You give me the chance, I'll go ahead and give you some peace.
But yeah, he said, yeah, maybe I'll stop by and give you peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Bridges goes, or I can give you yours, right, or something, or I can give it to you, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, I'll kill you, or
you'll kill me,
right?
Yeah.
And then the movie ends, and then we're left with this sort of feeling of, yes, he got away with it, but did he, right?
Yeah.
And how far is this going to go, right? It's sort of I don't think, which is why I said it's not over until it's over. It's not over until one of them is dead, right? And
you hate to say it, but probably Marcus is probably gonna die first.
I honestly disagree.
You think he's out of spite gonna?
I think that me personally, I still don't think Toby is a killer. I don't think he would go through with it. I think he was using it for intimidation.
Yeah.
His words and sort of his body language and the way he was, using the gun for intimidation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he would actually do it. I truly believe that Toby is not a criminal. He did this out of pure desperation.
Yeah.
And that he wouldn't kill this seemingly absolutely innocent person, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I do think that Marcus would. I think Marcus would go out of his way to kill Toby. That doesn't faze me at all. And I think it's purely out of revenge.
Yeah.
Out of his grief. And out of his rage and his anger. I think he absolutely would. That doesn't faze me at all.
Yeah. Even though it kind of would contradict what he even told Toby, which I love, because Toby says, I want this to be over. And he's like, well, it's never going to be over. It's going to haunt you the rest of your days.
Yeah.
But don't worry, you won't be alone because it's going to haunt me too. Yeah. And I was just like,
yeah.
That's a Goosebumps pop away.
That's a Goosebumps pop away. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And, dude, it was... And I love that, yes, technically Toby got away with it. But things don't work out for him. He doesn't get his wife back because she doesn't want him back.
No.
Yes, it does seem like his sons are kind of about it. About towards him. But... he at least knows I've secured their future.
Absolutely, which is the main... I don't think he gave a shit about what happened to him at all. Yeah. As long as he got the land and the oil futures or whatever, however you say it, for them, he was good, right? He rents a house in town, good enough for him, right?
Yeah.
I think he obviously wishes his brother were there. But the fact that one of them made it out, I think is good enough for him. And that they got it done. Yeah. The mission was successful.
Yeah.
Whether or not he benefits from it or not, I think no matter what, he benefits because he succeeded.
Yeah.
And even if I think if Marcus ends up pursuing anything, I think they're still safe. I think they're still good.
Yeah. So Jeremy, would you like to tell the people why, one, this movie is called Hell or High Water, and two, why the episode is titled the way it is?
Hell or High Water is really just, there's that saying that the lawyer...
yeah, come hell or high water.
Yeah, which is, of course, is a Southern saying. No matter what is really, no matter what, you be here. Come hell or high water, flood.
Yes.
It's a Southern.
If anyone doesn't know, West Texas, I don't know about other West Texas towns, but especially Midland. Midland floods when there's a lot of rain. Shout out to Midlantis, our junior year of high school.
So it's like any other place. We don't get any rain, and so the ground is super hard. And we don't have a lot of filtration system in our roadways and our highways or whatever. And so when it does rain, it rains a lot. And when it rains a lot really fast, it doesn't have time to soak into the ground. And so it floods.
Yeah. I almost flooded my Mustang twice trying to get to school.
Yeah. It flooded so much.
Dude, I was worried, man, because when I was late to school that day.
Yeah.
Because I was worried it was going to flood my car. I remember getting out of my car and there was steam on the coming off my hood.
Yeah, that shit's real.
Because I had pushed my Mustang so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So Anyway,
That's what the movie's called.
so and why is the episode called what it's called?
Okay, so I decided to call the episode "We Have Met the Enemy and He Is Us." The reason I did that was it has nothing to do technically with the movie. It's a title of a collection of comic strips, Pogo comic strips from like the 1950s or whatever. And of course that has nothing to do with anything. It's taken from like an 1800s saying from a naval officer or something during the First World War. And
wait, you said there was another one?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's two. So far, there's two. And Jeff Bridges, I was watching the Q&A on the... Did you watch the Q&A?
I meant to.
On the extras on the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever.
You mean the 4K?
Yes, the 4K. And he quotes it when asked about the ambiguity of antagonist and protagonist. Yeah. Right?
That Taylor Sheridan thing of who do you root for?
Right. We have seen the enemy and he is us, meaning what he means by that is he takes this saying and he's saying that, I think at times, especially in certain circumstances, we are both, right? Mm-hmm. We can be enemies. We can be heroes. I think that in Toby's case especially, that he is a good person. He is our protagonist. However, he is being put in a situation where he feels that crime is the only way out.
Yeah.
Right?
Where he becomes sort of the antagonist.
Right. He becomes the enemy.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that even at the very end with Marcus's sort of with his
promise, really.
Well, yeah, and with his antagonistic speech and all of that to Toby, I think that he is also becoming sort of a vigilante type criminal in a way that if he does go through with his promises and what he's saying, that he also becomes the enemy, right?
Yeah.
That these lines are blurred, and I think that's why this movie is so brilliant and so good, and will stand the test of time. I think that this movie will go on to be one of the great neo-noir westerns of the 21st century.
Yeah, man.
This movie is brilliant, and you should definitely see Sicario and Wind River.
Sicario's on my list, man.
Dope.
So, Jeremy, are you ready to wrap up?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, man, I dug it. I loved it. Again, shout out to the runtime, man. The runtime was perfect.
Shout out to how long something is.
Exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Because I'm not going to lie. Sometimes it takes me just a minute. Unless I'm already like really excited about the movie. It does take me a minute to kind of get into a movie that may be 2 hours and some change long.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like, for example, the movie we're going to see on Thursday, Nope, is 2 hours and 11 minutes long.
Right on.
I was perfectly okay with that. I was like, let's go. But with this, I was like, okay, it's probably going to be 2 hours. Oh, it's only hour 45.
Not even, right? Yeah.
Like, okay. And it was perfect. That length was perfect.
Yeah.
I didn't want any more or any less. But the movie as a whole, phenomenal. Again, definitely makes me want to actually dive more into Taylor Sheridan's writing.
I have not seen, and it's mostly because people just tell me to, and I
Yellowstone.
Yeah, and I don't tell them what to do. You know what I mean?
No, and that's another thing I hate too. It's like,
and I have so many other things I need to watch. I don't have time for Yellowstone right now. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those of you who love Yellowstone. By the way, Taylor Sheridan is an actor also.
Uh-huh.
By the way, he's in the movie.
He's just credited as cowboy.
He's the cowboy. He's the rancher who's trying to get his cattle away from the brush fire.
Yeah.
The super hunky handsome guy that guy writes movies very well, and it's not fair.
Yeah.
It's almost as if, and I'm gonna shout him out again, Tom Ford.
Dude, shout out to Tom Ford.
Because we talked about nocturnal animals in this episode. I think that he is not only a successful businessman, he's also handsome, and he can also make movies like a son of a bitch, and it's not fair.
I know.
You can't have it all, man.
I refer back to your statement of this is how he gets his creativity out. How dare you, sir?
How dare you?
And give us one more movie.
Yes, please. More movies from Tom Ford. I would love it.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, what are we going to talk about next week?
What a wonderful question. I don't know.
Oh, Jesus.
It's fine. So
I'm only slightly scared.
No,
because I think we've gone through some of the ones I've been really excited to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Woman Under the Influence and last week's episode, Celebration.
Right, yeah. Those were...
Which, while I was in Austin, I told Scott he needed to watch. And he was like, why? And I told him the rules and everything, and he was like, okay. I was like, yeah. Oh, God.
Thinking.
Oh, that was... it kind of almost worded me, because that was a grin of, like, okay.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Fuck. Okay. We're going to go middle again. We're going to go 2.
Okay. Next week, we are going to be discussing Paul Thomas Anderson's Phantom Thread.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's been a while since we've done a PTS movie.
Do you want to know what 1 and 3 were?
Sure.
Ikiru was number 1.
I was thinking you were going to pick that one.
3 was Kids.
Oh, thank fucking God. I am not in the right mental state to watch that movie yet.
Jordan Peele once praised Phantom Thread and saying, "This is cinema."
All right, well, I'm going to have to comp the 4K.
So. Phantom Thread, very excited. Got old D-Day out of retirement.
Well, and then to finally retire, he said he was going to retire after Lincoln, and then PTS was like, hey. You want to do this?
Yeah.
And he was like, all right.
But
after this, I'm retiring.
Sort of a romance drama, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, from what I've heard,
what I've heard. Again, what I've heard, I haven't seen it. Neither
you haven't seen it? Oh, shit.
That's why he picked it. It's on my list.
That's right.
So I haven't seen it. I've started it twice. And then, you know why? Okay, so here's what I do. I'm a maniac. It's very late. I want to watch something sort of with a certain tone and a certain style.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll go, I want to watch something that I've never seen, which is insane because I know I'm not going to finish it. And I want it to be a certain way. And I've done this twice with Phantom Thread. And I put it in, 10 minutes in, I'm like, I'm done. But it's beautiful and it's wonderful.
Didn't you do that with another movie that we did this season already?
Probably.
I don't know.
No, I can tell you. I did that with... not necessarily like that, but I did with Tinker Tailor.
That's right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
But definitely Phantom Thread. And from the 15 minutes I've seen, it is wonderful. Haley's gonna hate it.
Well, I guess you're watching it alone.
It's
in your
very slow. Probably, or she'll be there and not listening.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, I'm excited. We did Inherent Vice. We've got. Don't we have another one on my list?
Maybe you do have another PTA on there. I don't know. You might not. I think we have several Joaquin Phoenix films.
That's true, and Spike Jonze.
Yep.
But.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. But anyway, so we hope everyone enjoyed Hell or High Water, and we'll see you next week for Phantom 3.